In a quiet suburban neighborhood where everything seems perfect, there's a hidden, dark story of love that turned out very wrong. Becky and Tim Bleefnick appeared to live a peaceful life in their nice house, but deep down, many secrets and problems were brewing. Then one night in 2023, something terrible happened that broke the calm appearance of their happy life, leaving everyone with many questions and broken hearts. As we look closer into their story, we find a complicated mix of lies and betrayal. It's hard to tell where love ends and obsession begins. What made this once happy couple fall apart? And who is really responsible for the chaos? Let's dive into the mysterious story of the Bleefnick family, where love mixes with betrayal in a scary way. Join us as we try to find the truth in this strange and heartbreaking tale where what's right and just is at stake among the broken pieces of a once loving relationship. Meet Becky Blayfick, often called Becky. Born in November 1981 in Quincy, Illinois, Becky was always meant to do great things. She did very well in school and graduated top of her class at Quincy Notre Dame High School. She loved learning and went on to Quincy University to get a bachelor's degree in biological science with a minor in chemistry. After college, Becky didn't stop there. She found a job in pharmaceutical sales with Sanofi Aventis and became one of the top sellers quickly. But Becky felt a stronger calling. She decided to become a nurse and went to Blessing Riemann College of Nursing and Health Sciences. As a nurse, Becky worked hard in different roles, including helping out as a travel nurse during the tough COVID pandemic times. She also gave back to her community, volunteering at St. Peter's Grade School Association and an animal rescue. She even planned to help at Quest Stables with therapeutic horse riding. It was during her time at Quincy University that Becky met Timothy Bleefnick, known as Tim. Tim was a standout college football player and was so good that he made it into the university's Hall of Fame. Tim was known for his fun and goofy personality, which everyone loved. Underneath that, he was a determined competitor with a big heart. During their college days, filled with study and excitement, Becky and Tim met and felt a connection, brought together by destiny. Becky and Tim's relationship was like something out of a romantic book. They got married, promising to stick by each other through good times and bad. They moved back to their hometown of Quincy and started a new chapter in their life together. They settled into a cozy house on Kentucky Road, where they built a loving and joyful home. They had 3 wonderful children, each a symbol of their love and dedication to their family. Tim worked hard as a sales executive at Quincy Farm Products, not just to provide for his family, but also to set a strong example of hard work and persistence for his kids. Becky, on the other hand, worked at Blessing Hospital, where her kindness and hard work made a difference in many lives. Her care and compassion reached beyond her family, positively impacting her community. Together, Becky and Tim faced the challenges of life with courage and strength, their relationship growing stronger every day. Tim Bleefnick is a natural performer, charming everyone from his days in community theater to his viral hits on social media. His love for the spotlight shone when he auditioned for the action-packed American Gladiators in 2008. Although he didn't make the final cut, his drive got him to the last round of auditions. In September 2019, another exciting chance came his way. The producers of Family Feud invited him and his family to compete on the show. However, Becky couldn't join because of her nursing school schedule. Undeterred, Tim gathered his parents and brothers to form a team. They went on to win $20,000 over 3 episodes, thanks to Tim's quick wit and humor. But there was a surprising turn. Tim didn't share any of the prize money with Becky. Was it just an oversight, or is there more to the story? Becky and Tim started their marriage full of dreams for a happy future together. However, as time went on, issues began to surface in their seemingly perfect relationship. The tension started when Becky chose to follow her passion for nursing. A noble choice, you might think. But this is where the drama began. When Becky shared her career plans, Tim was not supportive. In fact, he was strongly against it. He expressed concerns about the stress of the nursing profession and doubted whether Becky could manage the pressure, especially while raising their children. However, Becky's friends saw Tim's reaction differently. They felt he was trying to control her and was unwilling to let her pursue her dreams. As more time passed, Becky's friends watched the drama unfold from the sidelines. They saw a significant change in Becky's behavior compared to her early married days. What began as a happy union started to sour. Tim's attitude changed to something more manipulative and controlling. Despite Becky's hard work in her nursing studies and job, Tim failed to acknowledge her efforts and often neglected his duties at home. Realizing their marriage was in trouble, Becky decided to take action. She believed that marriage counseling could save their relationship. Full of hope, she suggested this to Tim, hoping it would help heal their growing rift. Unfortunately, Tim dismissed the idea, choosing to handle things his way, leaving Becky disheartened and unsure about their future together. After 11 years that looked like a happy marriage, Tim shocked everyone by filing for divorce. Becky, who had been doing everything she could to save their marriage, was stunned. Tim moved out quickly and started living across town, leaving Becky filled with questions and hurt. Tim explained that he felt Becky had changed completely after she became a nurse. He said her demanding job had turned her into a different person who didn't fit into their relationship anymore. This was hard for Becky to accept. Once the divorce proceedings started, things got really heated. Tim and Becky fiercely argued over everything, from custody of their children to who would keep family treasures. It turned into a massive fight with no clear end. But just when it seemed things couldn't get more complicated, Tim took another drastic step. He got a protective order against Becky, accusing her of stalking and harassing him. He even mentioned a serious argument they had at their son's school and said he had video evidence. But Becky didn't stay quiet. She claimed that Tim was the one causing trouble and harassing her. It became a tangled mess of accusations from both sides, confusing everyone involved. Becky opened up to her friends through text messages about the troubling things happening at home. She talked about times when Tim yelled at her, pushed her, and even threw things. Her concerns went deeper. She was really worried about Tim's mental state and feared he could do something even worse. Adding to her fear was the tragic murder of one of her co-workers by their partner, a stark reminder of the dangers in abusive relationships. Alarmed by these messages, Becky's sister realized the urgency of the situation. She understood Becky's fears and encouraged her to seek help. Taking her sister's advice, Becky bravely filed for an order of protection against Tim, aiming to protect herself and her children. However, securing this protection proved challenging. Despite Becky's request, the court did not grant the order she hoped for. Instead, the judge decided that Tim and Becky should avoid each other's homes, except during times when they needed to exchange custody of their children. This limited measure left Becky feeling vulnerable and did little to ease her fears, making her fight for safety all the more difficult. On February 22, 2023, a tragic event changed everything for Becky and Tim Bliefnick. Their 3 sons, aged 12, 10, and 5, were staying with Tim, who lived just a mile away from Becky. At this time, Becky and Tim were finalizing their divorce, creating a tense and emotional atmosphere. No one could have guessed the terrible events that were about to happen. The next day, Tim, in a state of panic, called Becky's father. He was worried because he couldn't get in touch with Becky, and she hadn't shown up to pick up the boys from school as she was supposed to. Alarmed, Tim's call prompted a series of actions to find out what was wrong. Becky's father immediately went to her house, driven by concern for his daughter. What he found was horrifying. When he entered Becky's bedroom, he discovered her lying in a pool of blood. Becky had been brutally murdered, a victim of a violent and senseless act. The police and crime scene investigators quickly arrived at Becky's home, trying to understand what had led to her tragic death. As they examined the evidence, one critical question emerged: who could have committed such a horrific crime? When investigators arrived at Becky's house, they encountered a confusing scene. The house showed signs of forced entry, and it appeared that the intruder had entered through an upstairs window, using a patio chair to climb onto the roof and into the home. Inside, the violence of the situation was clear. Becky's bedroom door was broken down, suggesting a struggle took place. It seemed Becky tried to barricade herself in the bathroom, but the attacker reached her. Her cell phone was found with a misdialed call at 1:11 a.m., indicating she tried to call for help but was stopped before she could reach emergency services. With no witnesses and nothing stolen, the investigation was challenging. However, several pieces of evidence were found: a partial shoe print, 9mm shell casings, and bits of shredded plastic near Becky's body. These clues began to form a larger picture for the detectives. The timing of Becky's murder added to the suspicion, occurring just a week before her and Tim's divorce was to be finalized. Another significant find was a bike missing reflectors, similar to one seen on surveillance near Becky's home, found just a block from Tim's house. This linked Tim even more closely to the crime, leading detectives to get a search warrant for his house. Inside, they found startling evidence that would surprise everyone. Additionally, detectives spotted a dark-clad figure on a bike near Becky's home around the time of the murder. Although the video was not clear, the presence of the bike connected Tim to the crime scene. Investigators were now faced with the task of determining if this evidence was enough to prove Tim's involvement in Becky's murder. Just 2 weeks after Becky's tragic murder, Tim was suddenly the focus of a police investigation. Armed with a search warrant, detectives arrived at his house. Surprisingly, Tim was calm and did not resist as they searched through his things. However, it was his mugshot that really shocked the community. The once well-groomed man now looked disheveled, a stark contrast to his former self. While some thought his appearance was due to the stress of the divorce, Tim claimed he looked this way because he was participating in a charity event. Adding to the intrigue, a clip from a TV game show surfaced where Tim made a remark about regretting marriage, which now seemed eerily prophetic. Was this a hint of deeper issues? The case took another twist when detectives discovered Tim's secret online persona. Under the name John Smith, he had been searching for a specific type of bicycle, one that closely matched the bike found near his house. Was this just a coincidence, or a vital clue? As the trial began, the prosecution faced a tough challenge. With no confession and no DNA evidence linking Tim to the crime, proving his guilt to the jury was daunting. Juries look for solid proof, and without it, doubts remained. The big question was whether the evidence would be enough to convict Tim, or if he would be found not guilty. 3 months after the tragic death of Becky Bleifnick, her husband, Tim Bleifnick, found himself in court on May 23, 2023, facing charges for her murder. As the trial progressed, the prosecution presented a compelling narrative of the events leading to Becky's death. Among the evidence were pieces of a shredded Aldi grocery bag found near Becky's body. While seemingly trivial, the prosecution argued these were crucial, claiming Tim used the bag as an improvised silencer to muffle the gunshot sounds as he shot his estranged wife. The case intensified with the introduction of DNA evidence. Forensic experts testified that Tim's DNA was on the grocery bag fragments. More damning, DNA matching Tim's was also found under Becky's fingernails, suggesting a violent struggle occurred before her death. Tim's digital activities also painted a troubling picture. His phone searches included how to open my door with a crowbar, how to make a homemade pistol silencer, how to clean gunpowder off your hands, and questions about police response times, indicating premeditation. Ballistic analysis linked the scene further to Tim. The shell casings found matched those in Tim's possession, and the murder weapon, a 9mm firearm, was tied to Tim's home, although Becky's own 9mm gun was missing. After 6 days of dramatic testimony, the jury delivered a verdict within just 4 hours: guilty. Tim was sentenced to life without parole. Despite the conviction, Tim insisted on his innocence and planned to appeal. The trial also featured a profound moment when Becky's family confronted Tim. In emotional statements, one of Becky's sisters made a heartfelt plea, urging Tim to recognize the immense impact of his actions on their children's lives. As we close this intense chapter of true crime, let's reflect on the tragic story of Becky and Tim Blatnick. Beyond the dramatic courtroom scenes and complex legal details, this case highlights a harsh truth: the ongoing issue of domestic violence. Becky's story is a grave reminder of how domestic violence deeply affects individuals, families, and communities. It shows the crucial need for increased awareness, support, and action to address this widespread problem. The fight for justice in cases like this affects our society as a whole. It calls for accountability, empathy, and a strong commitment to protect the rights and dignity of everyone. As we deal with the challenges of the legal system, we must remember the personal stories at the core of these cases. We must unite in our effort to end the cycle of violence and work toward a fairer, safer world for everyone. So, viewers, as we part ways today, take with you the lessons from this sad story. Let's honor Becky's memory by pushing for change, supporting survivors, and promoting a culture of kindness and strength. Together, we can change the story and make sure no one has to suffer in silence. Don't forget to keep up with the latest episodes of Crime Briefs. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay informed. Join our community for more captivating, true crime stories. Subscribe to Crime 2. Stay safe, everyone.